What do you want to know? Strangely enough, a month ago, some friends of mine said, forget about getting an actor to play the part of Don Quixote. You have become Don Quixote and you should play the part yourself. Notice how my beard is getting longer. But I'm not going to do that because I need a really good actor to play the character. But my experience with this project and dancing with Don Quixote, you eventually become just like Don Quixote. It becomes crazy. Everybody says stop. The world is not like that. It's not going to happen, and you carry on again and again and again. I actually wish the film would go away and leave me alone. It's a very dangerous thing because it's like Orson Welles, he never finished his.
Yeah.
There's a kind of curse on Don Quixote, and you become mad in trying to do it. Monty Python was probably the most important leap in my life. From being a cartoonist to being an animator of Monty Python, and Python became a big success, and that led to me being able to start making films, directing films. So it's a direct connection. In the group, it was great because there was six of us who all were equal, and there was no leader. It was complete communism, communism is what it was, and and we had the BBC giving us complete freedom to do what we wanted. And that's a very rare situation, and so I developed a lot of confidence by doing that. I don't really miss it. It was a long time ago, and doing the animation was a very solitary job. I was working on my own, so making films, it's more of a community, and I actually prefer that. Normally, they're just some obsession I have, something that's bothering me, something I want to say. There's no plan. It's just certain things start wanting to be told, as far as I'm concerned, and then sometimes, occasionally, a script will come along that somebody else has written that is much better than anything I was going to write, and I went off and would do those films occasionally. So, but effectively, the film has to possess me. I have to become a victim of the film, and then I have to make it to get it out of my system and out of my life. Some things begin on my own, but then I always work with a co-writer. It's just more efficient way of working. Ideas go back and forth, and we move very quickly. I also work with people who are better at writing dialogue than I am. I'm more about ideas, structure, and the characters need to speak sometimes, and I prefer to work with other people who can write better dialogue than I can write. Hopefully choose the best people for the part. I mean, I sort of have an idea who should play it. Um, it's always a balance because you also need actors that are bankable, that have a big enough name that I can get the money. So there's always a bit of a compromise, but not much. And they have to be people I really think can do the part. I don't want to teach them how to play the part. I want to choose them because they're the right people. And then I make sure I'm working with people that I will enjoy being with a lot because it's a long process. And that's kind of it. But I do have very strong senses of what I want and who I want. So, but I will listen occasionally to other people's ideas. I met him several years ago at some awards ceremony, and we both said, "Oh, we have to work together." And other names were coming forward, and then his name came up, and I said, "Oh, he would be incredible. He's a great actor." And we arranged to have lunch, and I talked about the film to him, and he said yes, and that was it. And because I mean, it was interesting because in Zero Theorem, he's never off screen. It's he is the film, and I said to him that, you are the film, Christoph. I will follow you. I won't tell you where to go. You have to be this character, and we will head off, and I'll try to keep up with you. I was alone, but never lonely. If you don't know who you are, you're too easily blown by the wind, whichever way it should go. So I think it's really good for people to be able to spend time on their own and find out who they are and not depend on other people's opinions or other people's comments. And Gironso, my house here, I remember years ago with my son, we came up there, and we don't have a television, we don't have telephones, we don't have a PlayStation or anything. And so he was getting very bored for a couple of days, and my wife was saying, we've got to do something. I said, no, let's just wait. And after a couple of days, he began to invent things. He was on his own, and he was creating a world that was complete, and it was interesting, and he was finding that nature is a great companion. And I thought that was really quite wonderful. I was doing a book with my daughter, and it was really about my artwork, and I would talk about the artwork, but then I started talking about more things than just the artwork, and it was all being recorded, and it eventually seemed to become an autobiography, but it's not a real autobiography. It's not as complete as it would have been if I had sat down to write one. So I actually call it a grand theft autobiography. It's the story of my life, but it doesn't go into a lot of detail that I would have liked to put into it, because once we got through the whole thing, and there's a co-writer who actually did making my my speech easier to read. And he did a very good job of organizing it, and I said, fine, we'll just finish. It's done.